Hey guys, Michelle here at Serendipity House. How are you guys? Happy Monday. It's dreary here and I am trying to finish a bunch of projects. And one of the things that I've got going here is my pour finally dried. And so I'm gonna do the epoxy now. And I'm gonna do it in real time. So there's gonna be 12 minutes of stirring. Well, hopefully you guys will come on and chat with me. So I'm just going to go ahead and start. Please ask questions if you have any. I am using the glaze coat, Famawood glaze coat. So there's all different kinds of epoxy and different kinds of resins. And this kind, I like this, and I like, what's the other one? There's a crystal clear one. I don't have it in hand right now, but these two I know I've used a lot and they don't yellow. That's why I like them. So we'll chat while I'm mixing, but this is what I'm using. It comes in two parts, a hardener and the actual epoxy. Hi, Maggie. And let's see, you need even parts, and then we have to stir for 12 minutes, which is going to be hard because I'm using both of my devices. So maybe once I pour, somebody could watch a clock for me. All right, so I'm just going to open these up and then I'll shoot you down and we're going to stir. So the stirring these two together is what you can feel it kind of heating up, and that's what is activating it and getting it ready to harden. These types of epoxy resins need to dry. I usually wait 72 hours because I've gone back and thought they were dry and touched them and left a fingerprint. So I've got these two out, a stirrer, a couple of containers. You're gonna see we're gonna use this to level it, and a heat gun, which is super important because some guy walking around taking pictures outside. The heat gun is really important because it pops the bubbles. You don't want an epoxy pour where you can see a bunch of bubbles. I want a nice clear gloss. Hi, Holly. Hi, Gina. Gina, you're in Chicago? Oh, I'm sorry, do you live near Chicago? For some reason, I thought you were further out from the city. Good to see you anyways. All right, hopefully this isn't too old. It was not opened. So here's what I'm gonna do, and then I'll point you back up again when I'm stirring. Now, it's good to have, you know those containers that you buy? I, of course, don't have any because I grab them from Melt Pape, but there are those plastic containers that you can buy with the measurements right on the side. I don't have any. You need an equal part of each of these. So what I'm going to do is pour the hardener and the resin into one, and I'm going to measure it just with the measurements that are on these cups. Okay, so I'm going to put it, make them the same in there, and hopefully I have enough. You can measure and do like the square footage for your piece. I never measure, so do as I say, not as I do. I'm measuring this, but actually let's put it a little bit above. I'm measuring this to make sure they're even, but I'm hoping it will cover my table. It's important to have it even or it might not dry. Actually, which one of these? So the clear one is the resin, and then this is the drying agent. And you don't want it like sticky. All right, now I'm gonna pour them into here. I made sure everything was clean. Hi, Mary Jo. Hi, Nellie. Yeah, you're further out, but everyone knows Chicago. That's true. All right, I'm gonna pour them both in here, and then we're gonna mix them in here for 12 minutes. Now, it's supposed to be 6 in a cup, and then you switch cups to make sure you have nothing on the sides. I've done this so much. I've been doing epoxy for about 6 or 7 years. So I'm pretty careful, and I probably shouldn't have said that out loud. But I'm gonna say that when you get your epoxy, you should just exactly follow the directions. And you know what? I'm not sure if this is gonna be enough. I'm gonna pour all the rest of these bottles right in here. Now that I'm looking at this in here. If you haven't poured enough epoxy on your piece, that's okay, because you can go back and do another pour and it will cover it evenly. So, you know, that's okay. It's kind of a pain, so I just don't want to do it. So I'm just going to pour the whole thing in. And these are, so this is only 16 ounces. They're only 8 ounces per thing. It's not clear, but it will dry clear, and it will change colors as we're stirring. What are you guys up to today? Oh wait, will somebody start? What time is it? I can't see the time on any device. Could somebody please start the 16-minute time for me? Let's see, it looks like about 2:40. Anybody going to be here for the next 16 minutes that could do that, please? Normally I set the timer on my phone, but I'm using my phone and my iPad. And this part actually is important. Can somebody time 16 minutes? Say me if you're going to be here for 16 minutes. Thank you, Maggie. Maggie's got me. All right, so I am just going to stir this, and you can see bubbles rising up. So I am putting air in there, which is why we need the heat gun. Has anybody ever used this kind of epoxy before? For a tabletop, they're great on bar tops. I've done them on bar carts. It dries super hard. Some of them I've had trouble with it yellowing. I've tried quite a few brands. But I've had good luck with Fama Wood, and I don't know if the other one's called Crystal Clear, something like that. I'll have to look it up. I used to sell this, but I don't sell it anymore because, quite honestly, you can get it at Amazon for less than what I was able to sell it for. So that's, I go to the local hardware store if they have the brand I want, or Amazon for my epoxy. And at about 12 minutes, you're going to be able to feel this heating up. Like it'll start to get warm. That's how you know it's getting ready. Thank you, Maggie. You've used epoxy, but not on a whole table. You know, what I love about this art resin, I think they're all 50-50. I'm wondering if art resin, if I saw the label, I would know. I just happen to have a few of this kind. I've used more because I used to sell it. What was I going to say? So I think epoxy pours, so paint pours are easier when they drip off the sides of your table, I think, because you get a nice even flow. But epoxy pours are way easier if you have a lip on your table. So I love pie crust tables with epoxy because this stuff self-levels and you get a nice even amount, and you don't have to worry about the dripping. Because if you have this dripping over the sides, you need to tape and tarp everything, because it's really hard to get off if it drips onto a spot that you don't want it on. Hi, Ruby. All right, so we're just gonna stir and stir. I was kind of bummed. I wanted this to be done already to bring into my shop, but all in good time, right? This pour came out pretty good. The paint pour came out pretty good. There's some cracking in it, but it's not lifting. And I think the cracking is because it's DIY paint, which is pretty thick, and I didn't water it down. I just wanted to use what I have. I don't really have acrylics, but acrylic pours are easier and more foolproof, easier to do. If you're a first timer, epoxy's probably, acrylic is probably the way to go. Look at these bubbles. Can you guys see the bubbles raising up? Yeah, there's all of these, all of those little bubbles in there, that's what we're gonna make sure we have out with the heat gun. Some people use hair dryers. I don't like hair dryers because you don't want any dust or particles, or for me, it would have been dog hairs. I made sure to take off my jacket and put it aside because I've got dog hairs on it. You don't want any of that drying in your epoxy because you can't get it out. You want it really to look like glass. and a hair dryer blows around a lot of air, whereas the heat gun, it gets nice and hot. It pops your bubbles, but it's not blowing around any air. I have to stir this for 16 minutes. I'm just following the directions. I have before stopped a little bit sooner, and I have also gone a little longer because I'm just used to, you can feel it heating up and you can tell when it's time, but that's only because I've done a lot. But this is 16 minutes on this particular brand, which is right here. I am starting, you guys, to get like pain right there from painting and waxing and holding my brush. Does anybody else, I can't believe how hard this work is on my body. It's like a fun, relaxing thing, but between the back pain sometimes, my rotator cuff, and this little spot right there, I'm like falling apart. It's hard work, you guys. Hi, Patricia, how are you? I have no idea how long I've been stirring. Maggie's watching the clock. It's going to be 16 minutes. So yeah, so it's got the directions in it, and I'm just following the directions on it. And it says right here, so I've got 16 ounces, so I'm doing the pint one, and it says it covers 4.5 square feet. So I think I'll be good on my table. And like I said, if you're not, and it ends up like you have some marks where it didn't cover, you can pour right over it and you won't even be able to tell. I usually will wait 24 hours, I think it says, and then you can just do a second pour to recover not just the spot that didn't get it, but the whole entire surface. You have, yes, arthritis. I've got 10 minutes left. Oh my God, thank you. 10 minutes, it's only been 6 minutes. I don't know if I can stir that long or chit chat for that long by myself. Yeah, it feels like arthritis, and it's in my right hand mostly because that's the hand that I use to hold my brush. Hi, Florence. Now, I was worried the first couple times that I use this. Boy, the bubbles are really coming up because of how yellow it looked, but it did not dry yellow. I really hope this doesn't. I think I've had this box of epoxy for about a year. It was unopened, but it's been sitting there because I had like 4 of them. And, oh, you know what? I think I can see another thing of epoxy over there. It looks like it says clear cast resin. Don't walk away. Yeah, it is. Okay, this is the one. Shoot, I should have pulled it. This is the one that I like the most. I didn't realize I had the bottles of it. This is the one that I really recommend because, like I said, I've tried all different kinds, and I did a bunch of research first on some other people who they did like little pucks and showed what they looked like when the light went through them to show how clear they got and that they didn't yellow. And that was one of the ways I came across this one, and I was very happy with it. Yeah, that is a long time to be stirring, but this is a different kind of epoxy. I wouldn't use, well, first of all, this is nothing quick. I don't think I would use this type in the like IOD molds. It's not the same kind. I'm not sure it would come out. You need to leave them sitting overnight. So there's a quick dry, the amazing casting resin, which is a different box that I would use for that. So hopefully, so yeah, there's just all different kinds. This is the kind I use in the molds. The purple box, it's a crafting resin. This one is not a crafting resin. So just beware, don't just go buy like any sort of resin because they are all different. That's a long time to be stirring. I'm trying really hard to, I will let you know when you've got 2 minutes to go. Thank you, Maggie. Let me know when I can find the light at the end of the tunnel. So I found this week when I go around to some of the local shops that I know do house clean outs, and one of the things that I found was a violin case. And I am painting it because the leather was a little rough, or I don't even know if it was leather. It was empty. And I think I'm going to put some transfers on it, maybe for my IOD Live this week, and I will just use it for a display piece. But it's fun finding odd and different things. And I've been looking actually for an old violin. I thought that would be fun to do. But this time I just got the case, but I'm pretty happy with that. And we're still stirring, and then you might notice that I'm scraping the edges and making sure I get the corners. It's not really getting hot yet. I must have at least another 6 minutes. What's the weirdest thing you guys have ever redone, or the most exciting thing other than furniture? I think doing like an old instrument case, or oh, wouldn't a cello be kind of fun? I mean, actually, they're kind of big, right? That's kind of big, maybe not. A guitar, if they're inexpensive enough and they're not fit for playing anymore, I think those kind of things are just fun and different. So I've seen the old harps done, like one of those, you know, maybe something about 18 inches, one of those old harps, and those look really cool. Violin case sounds interesting. Will you share a picture? I will certainly share a picture. I'm thinking of doing it on my IOD, on my live for IOD on Wednesday, except I want to make sure that I'm doing it with a transfer that I have to sell. I would love to use the new Painterly florals, but we don't have those. They're out of stock right now. So that kind of stops me from doing some things. It's kind of wasteful for me to, when people are like, oh, where do I buy that? And I don't have it to sell it, so I can't do a live. So a lot of and I don't sell this. Anyways, I'm rambling because I'm trying to fill space up. I have 6 minutes left. All right, we can do this. We can do this. So I painted the base of the table in letterpress, and it's going to need another coat or two, but the inside I've got all ready and nice and clean. Nice and painted on the edges. Sorry, I know this part is boring, but I didn't want to say, okay, if you guys just watch me pour it. And plus, you know, you get a sense of the real time. Sometimes I think, not us because we're the crafters, but people who are purchasing or who are the recipients of these don't understand how time-consuming and expensive it is to do this stuff. So I'm getting less bubbles now, and then the container is getting warm, and my thumb is definitely starting to hurt. Crafting injuries. In the past, when I've done this stuff, I oftentimes have had something sitting aside so that if I have extra, I don't waste my epoxy. I don't have anything extra set aside today. But sometimes, because it's so time consuming and expensive, I would line stuff up so that because I just didn't want to waste it, you know. Just found the IOD products last week and am brand new. You are brand new. Well, welcome. Welcome. I think you are in for, it's quite addicting. Have you tried any of them yet? What have you used? I have 3 minutes and 20 seconds, Maggie. Every second counts. I'm a little concerned that this doesn't feel very warm, so I might go a little bit over. Of course, it might be 20 seconds over, but it'll feel like a full minute to me. I'm not worried about thickness. You know, it is what it is. I've had some of these that I've had to wait a little longer for them to dry, but I've personally never had any that have been like not dried, but I know people who have had them just like there was not enough hardener in it, or they didn't measure right and they just stayed sticky. So I hope after having to do a second pour on the table that that is not going to be the case for this. But, you know, I mean, I think I'd be bummed, but whatever, it happens. I'm following the directions. Scrape the sides down. A silicone stir on the end of a drill helps a lot. I guess I could see how that would. 2-minute warning. Boop, boop, boop. That's not a bad idea. I could also see myself making a mess, kind of like when you're baking and everything goes outward. You know what, I've bought a lot of attachments for my drill for things that I've had no luck with. I don't know why, but like the buffer things that you put on the end of the drills, I don't like those. I've tried a couple different brands, like 3 actually, and I've just never had luck with those. And I ended up buying like a whole electric buffer. And I think if I did epoxy like once a week or that often, I would definitely be looking for something less, with less work involved here. I might try that. But that's a good tip. Hi Maureen, how are you? Hi Jerry. Let's see, I'm at my 2-minute warning for pouring epoxy over my paint pour. So it already looks different than when we started, I think. It is warming up a little bit. I think I might go an extra minute though. So when you tell me it's time, Maggie, I'm gonna keep stirring, even though I want to be done. I can't listen to music because my video, I have music that plays in the background of my shop where I've done like walk-arounds, you guys. And all of a sudden, Facebook will like pick up one of those videos from like 2017 and say that it's been, you know, muted or banned or something. And I'm like, huh? I don't know how they do their little sweeps, but time's up. Okay, Maggie. I'm gonna go another minute here because I can feel it heating up. So I want it a little bit warmer. I'm gonna need a hot tub tonight with this arm. Thank you, Maggie, for timing me. It's kind of exciting when you can feel it changing. Now, once I pour this and I walk away, I am gonna stay walked away. I know that for a fact that although I used to do this at home in my dining room before I got a workshop, and for the first like hour, about every 10 minutes, I would go back and grab the heat gun again because a new bubble would arise. But I also learned the hard way that trying to pull hairs and stuff out just makes a mess. So you don't want to like touch it. Hopefully everything's clean. I won't be sanding in here. All right, I think we're ready. I do see a lot of bubbles, but that's okay. All right, guys. I'm gonna turn you around toward the table, and we are going to pour. Now I've got my big ring light on, and that's important because sometimes you can't really see the bubbles until you're standing in a weird light, and then you wish you had seen the bubbles. Okay, so here we are. I am just going to pour. Now you can see I've got some cracks and things in this, but nothing is lifting. It's all adhered wonderfully. Different, very different from the first one. And I'm just going to, I hope this is enough. If it's not enough, we go back and do it. We go back and do it after 24 hours. Now, unlike, this is self-leveling, but unlike the paint, we're not going to tip it. We're going to be spreading it with this, which doesn't look clean, but it is. This is just, I don't know what it is. I've used it a lot. It's just a like a flat trowel. And I can't tell now if I've got enough or not, but so this is how we're spreading it. Now you have working time, so don't worry about going too quickly. You do have some time. And try to get it right to the edge. I'm not looking up, guys, so if you have questions right now, I'm gonna focus on this, and then I'll look when I'm done. All right, I'm getting the center done first. You do need to kind of press down because I can see spots. I don't think you can, but I can see spots where it's like I'm going right over it. It's not, the epoxy's not there. Right to the edge, and then I'm going to pull it out from the edge. Now this is, even though it's great to do it with the corners, this is much harder too than, like you see these guys, I don't know, I love watching epoxy videos, and I'll watch people doing countertops and watch them just like spread really fast with their trowel, and it's just something very satisfying about it. All right, I'm pulling from the middle. I'm just trying to get it right up against my edges right now, and then I'm gonna go over it. But anyways, it's harder. You wanna make sure you're getting right up to your edge. So this way, in a way, is harder than like the countertop ones. To the edges. I certainly don't want to have to do another pour because I didn't get the edges. That would be a drag. All right, so I've got two sides. I don't even know what the camera is. Let's see. I just need to get this back corner here, and then I think we'll even it out. Do a double check. Now, you probably noticed too, I didn't even mention this, but you probably noticed how much the paint brightened up too after I put the epoxy on, because it's DIY paint, it went kind of muddy, you know, and then, all right, now I'm going to just make sure that I'm kind of even. But anyways, like, so when you seal the DIY paint, it brings the color back out. All right, now before I get this is the two issues that have happened to me the most are having a pocket in here that I can't see, where I've completely missed the epoxy. There's one over here, so I'm just gonna, you know, for some reason, like when I spread it out. So I always check for that now. And then the other thing is hairs and bubbles, and I think I've figured out how to control those. All right, the rest of this I think looks pretty good. All right, now triple, double, quadruple check and we're gonna get the dryer out. And then if I can zoom you a little bit more, you're gonna see the bubbles popping. Let me see if you guys have questions. Thank you for loving the colors. Nobody's talking. Were you guys holding your breath? All right. I'm gonna put that right down on here. And we're gonna do the heat gun now. Let's see if I can get you in a little closer so you can kind of see what the heat gun does, because I feel like that part is kind of exciting. And then of course you don't want your camera to fall into the pour. All right, so I've got my heat gun, same one I always use. I'm gonna put it on, let's see. I've got it on, no, I think I'll put it on low, not on high. No, on high. Watch this. Can you see the bubbles? Can you see them disappear? You probably can't tell they're there, but what you're noticing is, see how it's clearing up? All the white on there before it clears up, that's all bubbles in the epoxy. So this part is really important. Look at that. Huge difference. It's taking the bubbles away and it's clearing up my pour. Oh my God, I love it. Love, love, love. A hairdryer wouldn't do this. A hairdryer would be making a mess. And these heat guns, they don't cost a lot. All right, now I see one of those pops there where I missed paint. Okay. Obviously, it's important that you have a level floor too. Hopefully I do. Also, I think it will be less noticeable. All right, what do you think? So right here, I see a bunch of white. That's all bubbles. I don't know if this is the same spot I just got, but there we go. There's like a little spot where, there we go. There's a little spot there where it was not covering, it was going over it. There is a learning curve to this. The first couple times I did it, oh my God, I was so stressed out. I think like I said, I was at home and I'm pretty sure I went to check on it every 10 minutes, picking over it, looking at it from every angle. And it was beautiful when it was done, but of course there were spots that I was like, oh no. But you get better at it as you do it. If you have the right tools. This is really bugging me. I don't know what. Oh, you know what? I think there's a little piece of paint right here that is sticking up and it keeps just going out from it. All right, what do you think? Oh, thank you, Nellie. I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna turn this off for a minute and look at questions, and we're gonna go back to it in a minute. I'm gonna let it settle. I'm gonna let that settle a minute and we'll go back with the heat gun again because bubbles, it's still moving and leveling, so bubbles are going to keep coming. My heat gun's on cool, so I'm going to wait a few minutes. Yes, thank you. Do you guys have any questions? Let's see. Love the colors. Thank you. That's all DIY paint. And you watched me pour. Hopefully you watched the second, well, I did 2 pours. They were both good, but the first one had too many different types of products in it and it started to lift. And also, Arlene, you missed the paint pour part. I think it's on my page from last week, and probably when I'm done with all this, I'm just gonna condense it since it's 3 different lives. I'll condense it. It's perfect for an oceanside home, but we live in the mountains, Maggie, so I don't know. I finally have 10 minutes to myself and lucky enough to catch me. Thank you, Tracy. I think it's looking very pretty. So it will be nice and hard when it dries. I don't see any problems with it. I'm going to hit it a little bit more with the bubbles. There's more bubbles coming right here. So in a minute I'll hit those and they'll pop out. I like the color combination, and actually all of this part too will also brighten up because this is the letterpress gray, and it will deepen and get dark like the parts on here. Like, see this right here? That's okay. What I'll do is I'll finish the rest of it off with a high gloss finish, and it'll turn the same color as that. Now, I don't want to mess with this, but you could, you know, use your trowel and brush the epoxy like right up the sides if you wanted to. To me, I can go in and match it better, and I'd be more afraid that I'm going to mess up what I've already done, because I know this is definitely one of those things that if you keep fussing with it, you can make it worse. Yes, the gold in there is Golden Ticket, DIY Golden Ticket. So what did I end up using? So this is letterpress gray, skeleton key, white swan, and Golden Ticket. I think I used white swan. It may have been vintage linen. I might have to go back and look to make sure, but I think it's white swan. And they mix really well together. I like the blues and the green, and there's some boho blue in there, the blues and the greens. You know what? I think this is a good accent for a landlocked home too. Paint pours to me always tend to feel a little bit beachy because I use these tones as opposed to doing one with oranges and blacks and yellows and those kind of colors. But all right, so what I'm going to do is leave this alone, hit it again with the heat gun to get just those little bubbles that I can still see, and I'll check on it tomorrow, although it probably won't be ready. And I'm not going to paint the outside. I am just seriously just going to put this aside and leave it alone, having learned from experience to do that with the epoxy. So you guys will see pictures of this in a couple of days, I hope. Until then, it's going to rest and harden and just keep being beautiful. This is what I'm working on next. Thank you. I have changed the color on the doors here. I feel like it's kind of crisp for me, and I just can't, I'm not satisfied with this one. I might darken decrepit it before I bring it into the shop and muddy up the blue color. I'm not sure. It's just, and it's super heavy, so I do need stuff in my shop, but I'm also like, I don't really want to move that. So we'll see. All right, you guys, thanks so much for watching. And Maggie, thank you for keeping time. Sprinkle if you are able to. I appreciate it. And check back here for pictures. All right, have an awesome day, you guys. Bye.